You ever watch someone dig their own grave, one shovelful at a time, and you just sit there, coffee in hand, heart pounding, almost feeling sorry for them almost? That's how it started for me. Except instead of a shovel, this woman came at me with a clipboard and a voice that could sand the bark off a pine tree. And by the time you're done hearing this, you'll understand why justice, when it finally comes, is sweeter than any revenge story you've ever heard. I'll never forget the look on her face, mascara streaking down, phone shaking in her hand, screaming that the cops were on their way to arrest me. Me, for refusing to bulldoze my grandfather's 103-year-old cabin on the land my family's owned since Calvin Coolidge was president. She really thought she could scare me with her connections, her threats, her HOA badge. She had no idea who she was messing with. See, I'm Garrett Blackwood, Senior Special Agent, FBI Cybercrimes, 28 years. When my divorce was finalized last spring, I got handed the keys to the old family cabin on Whitefish Lake, Montana. That place, man, it's more than wood and stone. It's where 3 generations of Blackwoods learned to fish, where the fireplace can swallow a full-grown deer, where the air smells like pine pitch and wood smoke and freedom. After everything I'd been through, that cabin was my lifeline, my one anchor to sanity. Enter Bryn Ashford, the self-crowned queen of Whitefish Estates, HOA. 52 years old, California attitude, tennis skirt she probably wears to bed. She'd barely been in Montana 3 years and already acted like she owned the damn lake. BMW in the driveway, clipboard glued to her hand, perfume you could smell from the county line. She shows up one morning, heels clicking across my dock like gunshots. Agent Blackwood, she says, not so much greeting me as serving an indictment. Bryn Ashford, president of the HOA. She scans the cabin like she's found something rotten in her organic quinoa. Next thing I know, she's rattling off violations. My granddad's woodpile, the peeling, chinking, the old pickup truck. All of it. Her aesthetic standards sounded like a country club's list of what's wrong with the world. And let's be honest, her idea of incompatible elements was anybody not named Ashford. She hands me 47 pages, 47, of emergency compliance orders, demanding $15,000 worth of renovations, new roof, professional landscaping, paint that probably costs more per gallon than my monthly car payment. And here's the kicker, 15 days to do it all. Not 30, 15, or else the fines start rolling in, $500 a day. And if you don't pay, lien on your property. Just like that. Now, most folks would panic. Sell, maybe. But something in the way she smiled, like she just got a fish, made me dig in my heels. I told her I'd review her requirements, kept my voice steady, even as my blood boiled. But I'll be damned if I let some HOA president erase my family's legacy because it didn't match her Pottery Barn catalog. 3 days later, I get a certified letter, final notice, with enough red ink to scare an IRS agent. She's threatening legal fees, liens, the whole 9 yards. But here's the thing about bullies. They usually don't know the rules as well as they think. So, while she's playing dictator, I spend my Saturday in the courthouse basement, breathing in the dust of 100 years' worth of records. That's where I find it. The original 1923 land deed, signed in ink so faded it looked like a secret. Said property shall remain in perpetuity under original territorial land grant provisions, which in English means my land, my rules. No HOA, no zoning law, nothing touches it. But that's just the first shot. I keep digging. Decades of real estate fraud cases taught me that you never stop at one piece of evidence. I find the Whitefish Estates HOA documents, incorporated in 2019. And right there, plain as day, covenants specifically exclude pre-existing structures and historically designated properties from compliance requirements. Translation? Bryn's threats don't just lack teeth, they're illegal. She's been trying to extort me for money, using authority she doesn't even have. And I'm not the only target. Monday morning, I start knocking on doors. There's Mrs. Sterling, 83, hand steady as she pours tea. She's got a notice, too. Her tomato garden is suddenly a visual nuisance. Then the Morrisons. Their kid's swing set is a code violation. Jim Hartley, retired Navy, is getting fined for flying his flag too high. The pattern's clear. Older folks, working families, anyone who didn't fit Bryn's vision of lakeside perfection. That Wednesday, I have half the neighborhood in my kitchen planning a counterattack. Mrs. Sterling's cookies and Jim's military precision. Divide and conquer, classic bully strategy. But we're not staying silent. I lay out my discoveries, the grandfathered rights, the HOA exclusion, the evidence of targeted harassment. Thursday night, Bryn calls an emergency HOA meeting. It's a railroad job, luxury SUVs filling the lot, neighbors excluded unless they're part of her inner circle. 23 minutes later, they vote my cabin a public nuisance, authorize legal action. But what Bryn doesn't know is that I've been conducting real police work, pulling federal records, building a case. And here's where the twist comes in. Turns out Bryn isn't just a wannabe tyrant. 3 years ago, she pulled the same scam in California. Forced foreclosures, fake violations, property scooped up by one company, Pinnacle Development. Even wilder, her husband Marcus, quiet, serious, my colleague at the FBI, transferred in 6 months ago. The man's been in my briefings every Monday, never once mentioned what his wife does for fun. By now, Bryn's getting desperate. She shows up with a building inspector, tries to bribe him $1,000 to write up fake violations. The inspector, sweating bullets, pulls me aside and spills the beans. She plants anonymous reports with the county, prints flyers warning neighbors I'm polluting the lake, weaponizes fear to isolate me. Every move I document, photos, audio, video, because every crime she commits brings her closer to a federal cell. Monday, she pulls the nuclear option, files a complaint with Internal Affairs, claims I'm abusing my FBI authority, harassing citizens, using databases for personal grudges. They put me on leave. Badge and gun on the desk. 30 years of work hanging by a thread. But the rage in my veins, pure, white-hot, keeps me moving. Then Marcus shows up at my dock. Awkward. Eyes on the water. My wife's been intense, he says. I can see he's got no idea what she's done, and I can't tell him. Yet. That night, Bryn crosses a line you don't come back from. Mrs. Sterling calls me. Terrified. Bryn sent fake federal agents to her house. Tried to scare her with talk of foreign nationals and citizenship papers. That's not just harassment. That's a felony. By Thursday, I have everything. Bribery, conspiracy, impersonation of officers, hate crimes. I even catch Bryn filing FOIA requests for my personnel file, digging up dirt, planning to assassinate my character. Then, a text threatening my life if I don't back down. The arrogance. She thinks she's playing chess, but she's just moved her queen in a checkmate. And then the big break. In the HOA's fine print, I find a clause. If they control 51% of the board, they can force any lakefront owner to sell at assessed value, not market. Their buyer? Pine Summit Development. Turns out every bribe, every pressure campaign, every inflated tax bill was a coordinated effort to force out families and buy up the shoreline on the cheap. So I set the trap. With Mrs. Sterling's documentation, Jim's surveillance, and my chain of evidence, we assemble a case that would make any prosecutor weep tears of joy. I tip off the county prosecutor, a local TV reporter, even the Montana Historical Society, get my cabin designated a historic landmark. Every legal lever, every public eye, all pointed at Bryn and her co-conspirators. Friday night, Bryn makes her boldest move yet, caught on camera, planting fake survey markers, breaking into my shed, stuffing it with forged permits. She thinks she's framing me, but she's actually starring in her own criminal highlight reel. Saturday morning, the community center is packed. Bryn's at the podium, laying out her evidence. She has no idea she's about to confess to crimes in front of 200 witnesses, TV cameras, law enforcement, and, yes, Marcus, her own husband. County prosecutor interrupts her. On what authority were these reports obtained? Bryn's caught off guard, stumbles. She doubles down, accuses me of federal crimes, while the investigation that cleared me sits in the prosecutor's hand. That's when I stand up. I connect my tablet to the projector. First video, Bryn, in the dead of night, hammering fake survey stakes, planting false documents. Her face, her voice, crystal clear. Then, audio, her coordinating with Pine Summit, targeting elderly residents, using race and fear as weapons. As the evidence piles up, her supporters melt away, faces ashen. Marcus, stone-faced, tells her, "Your relationship to me ends where federal law begins." The sheriff cuffs her. The Pine Summit reps are next. Bryn's final screams. "You think you've won? I have connections. You can't do this to me." Echo through the room, but nobody's listening anymore, because justice is finally being served. 6 months later, the dust has settled. Bryn's in federal prison. Pine Summit paid millions in fines and restitution. The Whitefish Heritage Foundation now protects local history, funds scholarships, and helps homeowners fight back against HOA abuse. Mrs. Sterling got an award. Jim Hartley built a toolkit for property owners. The festival celebrating local heritage is bigger than ever. In my cabin, our cabin, is safe, a living testament to what ordinary folks can do when they stand together against greed and corruption. The new neighborhood association is transparent, honest, and run by the people, for the people. Mrs. Sterling's garden is bigger than ever. Jim's flag flies proud. The Morrison kids swing under a blue Montana sky. Some mornings, as I sit with my coffee watching the mist rise off the lake, I realize protecting a family legacy isn't about clinging to the past. It's about fighting for a future worthy of it. And the battle never really ends. Every day, somewhere, another family faces their own Bryn Ashford. But now they know how to fight back. So let me ask you, where's the line between community and control? When does authority become tyranny? I want to hear your stories, your wildest HOA showdowns, your thoughts on justice, on fighting back, on standing up for what's right. Drop them in the comments below and tell me, what does justice look like in a neighborhood? Because in the end, justice isn't something you wait for. It's something you build one day, one neighbor, one stand at a time.